Hey everyone, Ed Cavanough. I'm the Director of Policy at the McKell Institute. We've had today the unemployment figures come out for February, 4.2%, the headline unemployment figure, which is steady from last month. But I'm joined here by Dr. Angela Jackson from Impact Economics and Policy to run through the numbers in a bit more detail. Ange, can you just give us your sort of headline takeaway? I know the data that came out today also showed a significant reduction in hours worked. Well, what's going on there?
Yeah, so in some ways, not much changed this month in terms of the headline figures. So unemployment steady at 4.2%. Obviously, we know coming into the new year when the ABS went out and collected this data, Omicron was running rampant, impacting a lot of businesses across Australia. And so what we do see is hours worked have dropped significantly, 8.8%, and driven largely by people taking sick leave, and clearly related to the pandemic. So the impact of the pandemic, if you like, hasn't come through people becoming unemployed, which is a good thing, but it has come through people losing hours of work.
So was the reduction this significant expected? And have we seen that throughout the pandemic previously as well?
Yeah, so it's equivalent. It's not quite as much as the proper lockdowns last year, but as we called it, it was called the shadow lockdown, if you like, where people sort of really retracted, and obviously a lot of people had to isolate or had COVID during that period. I guess the concern was, would it lead to unemployment? I think businesses are pretty aware at the moment that hanging on to staff is pretty important. There are clearly shortages across the board and people are finding it hard to attract and retain staff. So we haven't seen that impact on unemployment, which is good, but yeah, it's come all the way through on those hours worked.
Well, given that sustained low unemployment rate, I mean, when are we expecting to see this flow into wages growth? Wages growth has been stagnant for years, basically. Everyone's talking about it just being around the corner. Why hasn't it happened yet? When are we going to see something move there?
Look, it'll be interesting. So we'll get the next wage price index figures out next week, and we'd expect to see some upward trend there. So the last figures at the end of last year around 2.2%, which, look, it's not terrible. It's certainly been lower in Australia, which is not a good thing, but it's certainly doesn't have a 3 in front of it, which is what the Reserve Bank governor says we need for a healthily growing economy. Are we going to see a 3 in front of it? I doubt it, but it'll be interesting to see across the board, of course, in health and social care and a lot of those sectors where workers are relying on award wages and they're pretty sticky. And add to that public sector wages policies, of course, a huge employer, and that have really been about capping costs and not thinking about the role the public service has in underpinning healthy wages growth across the economy.
Well, we'll see what happens in the next couple of months, but for now, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Ed.